I wanted to talk about a few big updates to some stories that we got to cover over the weekend, as well as talk about one that we actually missed. The latter is fairly heavy, so I'm going to throw that after the break. But let's start with the US government and Adobe. Over the weekend, we talked about all of the significant criticisms that Adobe has faced over the years and the immense amount of backlash their recent terms of service update had, where they said that, oh, we can scrape the content that you're making in our app and use it for derivative works. Now, while Adobe tried to clarify the statement saying that, hey, we will never use it to scrape for AI or any of these other issues, the TOS was written vaguely enough, it was weird that nobody checked that before it went out. And it was a straw that broke the camel's back for many of Adobe's numerous issues over the years. And guess what? It feels like the United States government is paying attention, because it was announced today that the US government is suing Adobe for harming consumers with large hidden termination fees on its biggest subscription plan. If that complaint sounds familiar to you, maybe it's because almost every single Adobe user has complained about that at some point. It is one of the biggest criticisms and controversies of the whole Creative Cloud system. Now, the FTC says that Adobe buries those large fees in fine print behind hyperlinks and calculates early termination to be about 50% of the remaining payments when consumers cancel within their first year. If you have ever had a Creative Cloud subscription, it is fucking expensive. I pay $50 to $60 a month to be able to make some of this stuff for you guys, and I've been using Adobe for more than a decade. Not everybody can afford that subscription all the time, and not everybody can afford an upfront $300 bomb when they can't afford it anymore. What the fuck? They also accuse Adobe of making that process incredibly obtuse and ridiculous by making them navigate a labyrinth of web pages, or hanging up frequently when they call by phone, or they have to speak to multiple representatives who are really it's a cable company. It's a fucking cable company. I expect an SNL skit with Kieran Culkin at some point. You also have executives David Wadhwani and Mani Darsani, president of digital media and senior vice president of digital sales, and two names that I can pronounce because I'm very Indian, but they are also named as defendants in this suit. With Dana Rao, Adobe's general counsel, saying subscription services are convenient, flexible, and cost-effective to allow users to choose the plan that best fits their needs, timeline, and budget. We are transparent with the terms and conditions of our subscription agreements and have a simple cancellation. Bull fucking shit. I'm not reading that. That is a cap. That is a bold-faced fucking lie. Again, I have used Adobe for over a decade. There are definitely significant issues to know what's going on with a Creative Cloud subscription that you didn't have in the original CS format. And simple cancellation, do you know how many memes there are, like infographic memes there are, of how to cancel an Adobe subscription and not have to pay for that bullshit? Like, do you understand how many there are? I will be the first to tell you, Adobe has significant issues with multiple programs. They are also some of the most robust tools for creating content ever. So as somebody who has been a big supporter of Adobe over the years, the fact that I saved multiple of those infographic memes in case I do have to cancel at some point soon tells you everything. I don't feel secure in this fucking subscription. And I don't think as a company, they operate in a way that is creator friendly with shit like this. And so I'm very glad they are being sued. They absolutely deserve it. People try to sell you capitalism as competition makes the best product, right? Like if you have opportunity makes everybody grind together and you get the best, greatest innovation ever. But the biggest issue with capitalism, and I am aware there are issues with every system out there, is that instead of innovating, motherfuckers find ways to close the door behind them and lock people into a money funnel. And Adobe has competitors, so I would struggle to call them an out-and-out monopoly. They are not only the best way to start figuring out how to create content, but the most difficult way to get out of it when it becomes too much for you to financially handle for a little bit. But yeah, good on the FTC. We'll have to see how it all plays out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, now let's move on to a quick update to Young Thug's trial. We talked about Young Thug's trial on Sunday and how Judge Glanville had an illegal meeting with the prosecutor and a key witness prior to a witness changing their mind about testifying. That meeting did not have Young Thug's counsel in there where he was supposed to be in there. And under like pretty much basic legal proceeding, it's a mistrial. It's 100% a mistrial. You cannot do that as a judge. It is pure corruption. It's witness intimidation. It's coercion. There are so many problems. So when confronted about the meeting by Young Thug's attorney, the judge held Young Thug's attorney in contempt and sent him to jail. Also, he didn't deny it. He was just like, what's your source? Like, give me your source. Who told you? Who told you? Super corrupt shit. That was immediately appealed. The Georgia Supreme Court okayed a bond, which kept Brian Steele out of jail so he could still participate in the trial. And today, a motion was filed by Brian Steele for the judge to recuse himself / disqualify himself from that case. Now listen, obviously the judge is not an impartial person in this, so he can't rule to recuse or disqualify himself. All he has to do with this fucking motion is just be like, hey, this meets the legal standing for this, which is he's supposed to do. Clearly it meets the legal standard. Make it go through and a third party will decide this. Again, I really urge you to follow Red Maisel on TikTok. She has an amazing breakdown of all this stuff. She's super entertaining to listen to also. She has a podcast on YouTube, which by the way, if you need a rapper on that podcast, I'm pretty good. But obviously when handed the most basic thing on a silver platter to just do, Glanville's like, nah. So this motherfucker apparently looks up on Google the correct verbiage of how to phrase, I'm gonna deny your motion.
Yep, look at Google.
Contain assertions,
Almost there.
bare assertions and legal conclusions which aren't sufficient for the court to grant your motion at this point in time.
Right. Wrong. He's wrong. He's incorrect. He's wrong. There's no two ways about it. He's incorrect. There is no other side that you could take.
Maisel even says like it's unlikely that he even fucking read the thing. Of course, she would not know whether he read the thing or not, but it feels like he didn't fucking read the thing. And now this motherfucker is about to get an ass kicking.
Denied it. You were about to get cooked. You're about to be grilled on appeal, my guy. What? What's left, since he also denied their ability to immediately petition for review mid-trial, is to file a writ of mandamus with the Court of Appeal, the Georgia Court of Appeal. It basically requests that the higher court yell, okay, at the lower court and tell them to do something that they need to do, which would be, it's the equivalent of telling someone's parent to yell at their child.
Maisel goes on to say this is frustrating because this is obviously going to be a mistrial. It is a slow-moving train wreck to a mistrial, which means all of the defendants are going to have to be in jail longer, and they're gonna have to repeat this process again, and more money and time are gonna be spent because of one fucking corrupt asshole's ego. I just wanted to update you on that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, I know not everybody's hooked to this trial, but man, it's important, dude. It's one of the wildest trials I've ever seen. Very quickly, before we continue, I do got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Magic Spoon. You've probably heard of Magic Spoon before or seen those like bright, colorful boxes in Target. And I'm being completely honest, after getting the variety pack, I am a fan. Look, it's simple, high quality cereal with 0 sugar. That's a perfect pitch for people like my mom who are diabetic, or people like me who are trying to cut down on sugar but eat way too much cereal. But yeah, I got the variety pack and I was gonna show myself eating the frosted one because that's my favorite, but I went through that shit in like 2 days. Luckily, I caught some strays at the bottom of the box and had a good time with it. But also the peanut butter ones are great. I eat those with yogurt. The cocoa ones taste like Cocoa Pebbles. But yeah, as somebody who snacks on cereal a lot or mixes them with different things for texture, it's also keto friendly if you're into that kind of thing. And it's got 14 grams of protein, which is awesome. And also, if you want to try a variety pack, because I think they're solid, you can go to magicspoon.com/Zed, enter in the code Zed, and you'll get $5 off one today. And Magic Spoon is also backed by a 100% money back guarantee. They call it a happiness guarantee, which means if you try it, you don't like it, they'll give you a full refund. But yeah, man, I enjoyed this. It's a great, pretty easy to have snack when I need just a boost of energy when I'm in the middle of working quite a bit. And the yogurt thing, look, listen, like I get yogurt, I can deal with the consistency, but I always like to add things to my yogurt to just kind of supplement the texture. This is a perfect replacement. It's got the crunch to it. It's great. So yeah, if you love cereal, you want a 0 sugar option, and you think the show thing that we're doing is cool and you want to support it in some way, go to magicspoon.com/Zed, enter in the code Zed, and get the boost you need. All right. Back to Zed Talks. I wanted to talk a little bit about like the backlash and the whole like culture war shit around Star Wars. I'll do that in another video, or if you don't want to hear about that, just tell me you don't care about it. But I do want to move on to our last story, which is about ImAllex. And again, this story has some very, very heavy content, but I do believe it's important to highlight. Popular YouTuber ImAllex, he's this cheerful British guy. He makes pop culture videos about stuff like Jojo Siwa, Colleen Ballinger, Jack Doherty. He just has a lot of commentary. He's fun to watch. But over the last few days, ImAllex has been accused by his ex-girlfriend Alice of emotional, physical, verbal, literally all of the abuse. So Alice has posted a Google Drive link with a statement. Inside it is a Google Doc with 82 pages of text messages and screenshots with commentary, as well as multiple video and audio clips of ImAllex being the worst type of abusive. Things like him calling her dog. He screams at her while she's trying to leave. He calls her the N-word. This exchange.
This is all just me, and that's something you really need to fucking fix.
I'm gonna fucking bash your fucking head against the wall with a brick if you don't shut the fuck up. Because this one, genuinely, this one, you fucked this, royally fucked this.
Fucking like that kind of shit boils my fucking blood. This was a massive story. As of today, Alex started the day with 2.07 million YouTube subscribers. He's now down to 1.99 million. That's a net loss of about 70,000 subscribers. But there has been a few more big developments since all of this dropped. Now, first off, a lot of big creators have responded, but more of Alex's exes have actually come forward corroborating some of that behavior. I dated Alex from June 2007 till March 2018. It was the most toxic relationship I've ever been in, and I was lucky to get out of it when I did. During the relationship, he made me feel insane, like I wasn't myself anymore. I never felt like he listened to me. I always felt belittled and inferior. Whenever we recorded videos together, he would constantly talk over me and never let me have my moment. If we ever had a disagreement, he would also sometimes allude to the possibility of self-harm over minor conflicts as a threat. He did what he has done in his relationship with Alice, where he would fly off the handle and get mad and then act all apologetic and sad to try to get me to feel sorry for him and forgive everything he had said and done. That's another thing. In Alice's accusations, she specifically said Alex was very manipulative. He would be incredibly abusive, incredibly verbally abusive, but even on one of the audio clips in that Google Drive, you can see him trying to walk things back, trying to patch things up like, oh man, I just made a mistake, threatening you with a brick. Listen, if you've ever been in a serious relationship and you have neurodivergency or ADHD or something like that, you will get into some big fights. But saying that kind of shit is like not even hyperbolically, that's fucking insane. Also, George Clarkey, Alex's former roommate, put out a statement. A year ago, I decided I wanted to move out, stop making videos and associating with him. I had heard things he'd said about myself and others making videos with him at the time in a similar narcissistic manner shown in Alex's screenshots. It is truly gross and disgusting behavior, and I just wanted my standpoint to be known so the focus could stay on this person who was brave enough to tell their story. And one of the biggest fallouts that happened was with iNabber and Jake Baz, two of Alex's friends who came out in support of Alice, stating it was horrific, some of the worst stuff they had ever seen, that they were unaware of Alex's larger abuse towards Alice. But then Kirsty, iNabber's ex-girlfriend, iNabber's real name is Frazier, by the way. Kirsty said that Frazier knew that Alex was abusive because Alex was shitty to Frazier the whole time. Also, Frazier is also abusive. Kirsty's saying that Frazier drove her to self-harm, that he was not the same but similar to Alex behind closed doors, saying that the physical and mental implications from that relationship is why she won't disclose what she went through. And that sent everybody going nuts until Frazier dropped his own Google Doc. Man, Bro, opening Google Docs is like a traumatic experience for me at this point after reading all this shit. Frazier dropped his own Google Doc of evidence, refuting a lot of the claims made against him with evidence of Kirsty's depression and at times some of the inflation she made on those situations. And she herself backtracked, saying that Frazier wasn't necessarily aware of what the abuse to Alice was, saying that he just knew of Alex's toxicity. At one point in the thread, she had said the physical and mental implications I have from that relationship is again why I will not be disclosing what I went through, which many people read as, oh, he was physically abusive to her. She clarifies he was not physically abusive to her. She meant she was diagnosed with chronic stress from the whole situation. And look, why am I bringing all this up? Am I trying to talk about YouTuber drama and everything like that? I have a point. First off, abuse allegations, obviously horrific. But the reason I wanted to talk about this, specifically why I wanted to talk about this, when it comes to YouTubers and TikTokers and all of this ecosystem of creators, even in Hollywood, honestly, it feels like the lack of basic human social awareness leads to horrific abuses and problems and situations. And that's not absolving any of it. It's just you see the pressures of an industry or the loneliness of working at this industry so long and the stress that that creates isolate people to the point where the relationships they have become human capital. I'm very lucky that I got to work under Phil and learn what like a decent person is, even getting to work under somebody like Rick for Evo. But I can tell you, when I worked under Mr. Wizard for Evo, that was not a great experience. When he was in a good mood, it was great. When I was on his bad side, I was fucked. And listen, I think explaining away all of this stuff as YouTuber drama is diminishing what you need to make this shit in general stop. There's an ImAllex in Hollywood and in your doctor's office and at a police station. There's so many ImAllexes at police stations. All that to say, I think it's just a systemic issue that stems from the stress of the job, the isolation of the job, and how young everybody starts. And that's a problem in music. That's a problem in acting. That's a problem in a lot of different places. And I think when people like try to explain away like, oh, what does it matter? Like, why are you, well, just enjoy the content. Why are you mad about Kanye's personal life? Why aren't you just enjoying the music he makes? Because the systemic issues that this person has and that he puts out into the world bleed into other issues. This shouldn't be a story about how ImAllex is over. This should be a story about what can we learn from this situation about people who are abused, how to get them help, and how to make it so that other people who become big YouTubers or become big streaming stars don't become abusers or victims in the same manner as this. But anyway, we'll have to wait to see how this all shakes out. ImAllex has not responded. It seems like he's going to at some point. I don't think you can just sweep this stuff under the rug. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Anyway, that's our show for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back on Sunday with another freestyle of the news. And anyway, my name is Zaid Tabani. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see y'all soon. Let's go!